In this video, I'm going to talk about one secret thing that the most powerful brands and creators have mastered. And it's not the marketing, it's not the funnels, it's not the VSLs, it's not the messaging, it's not any of that. This is basically mastering the art of seduction and applying it to sales, applying it to your brand. So, this is the seduction psychology that the gurus do not want you to know. Okay, we're going to dive in, and this is going to be amazing because not a lot of people touch on this. Obviously, they give you the tip of the iceberg strategies, they give you just like the nerdy stuff, but nobody really touches on the actual seduction psychology that you need to master in order for you to build an iconic brand, which I'm going to show you in this video. So, this is what you'll learn today. 7 seduction principles that will actually blow up your brand. And if you're new to the channel, I'm Andre. I'm helping creators become icons in their space. This is what I do. And it's not just the tip of the iceberg strategies. Post this, do that, use these hook formulas. I'm big on psychology, and I'm big on using these principles that the top brands use in the creator content creation space, essentially. So let's dive in. So look, the marketing industry right now just teaches you to convince. And I'm sure if you're already selling an offer in this space, if you're doing coaching, if you're selling courses, if you're creating content, you've heard this idea of you got to sell, you got to get on sales calls, and you got to essentially convince people to buy. Well, I'm the one that says, fuck that shit. You don't need that. Like, you don't need to constantly persuade, to constantly overcome objections, to constantly chase people until they buy. I don't think anyone likes that. I don't. And the thing is with this just positions you as the one who, again, constantly has to chase, the one who needs something. This is the issue with the space. Because you can have the best offer, you can have the best content. But essentially, if you don't master what I'm going to show you in this video, you're going to struggle to actually sell. You're going to struggle to get clients. Because it's not a matter of who has the best offer, who has the best features, who has the best course. It's not any of that. It's deeper than that. So, seduction psychology is the exact opposite of all of this. Okay, so this is all about how to become so desirable that people chase you, how to create tension, intrigue, and obsession, right? And how to make saying no to you feel like a loss. And again, when you master these things, you can abuse them, quote unquote, as much as you want, and they're going to essentially just change first of all your entire perception of this content creation space, but then also it's going to make a deep impact in terms of your business because you're going to be able to sell more, and selling is going to become second nature, essentially. So again, we'll break down the 7 seduction principles, how to apply them to your brand, your content, and your presence online. And this will separate you from every other creator and guru in 2026. So before I dive into the principles, I really want to touch on why this idea of seduction psychology works. Look, the typical bullshit in this marketing, strategies teach you to convince people. Again, seduction, on the other hand, teaches you to attract people. And these two are completely different games because convincing is logical, right? This is all about like features, all about benefits, all about the ROI, all about, again, overcoming objections. How many videos have you seen with this is how you overcome objections, this is how you get more people? It's all of that, right? Because this treats humans like rational decision makers, but attraction is completely emotional, right? So it's all about desire, again, tension, status, intrigue, and it treats humans like what they actually are, which is emotional creatures, right? We purchase based off of emotions, who rationalize their feelings after the fact, right? So this is why seduction works. And the creators who have cult-like followings, who charge premium prices like without any resistance, who have people living up to work with them, or like lining up to work with them rather, they're not better in convincing, they're just better at creating desire. So this is what you will master with this video, creating the desire. And this applies to any industry you're in. You could be in fitness, you could be a business coach, you can be a lawyer that is teaching, like you can apply these principles to anything. Because these people, they understand seduction psychology, even if they've never called it that necessarily, but they did master these principles. And for example, to put it into perspective, like I'm working with clients that sell offers for 5,000. 10,000, 15,000. I got a client in Miami that is literally selling a 30,000 minimum offer up to 75,000. And so you can imagine with that, we're not using the typical fucking guru crap to like overcome objections and all of that. No, it's all about, again, creating the desire. So let's get into the principles. Principle one, this is what I like to call the chase dynamic. So in seduction, whoever is chasing has less power, right? And again, I'm going to constantly relate every principle to actual seduction and even dating because we're going to extract that and bring it into the business space. And the person being chased is the prize, right? So this is hardwired into us as human beings because we want what seems slightly out of reach and we devalue what's too easy to get. So seductive creators flip the entire fucking script. They position themselves as the prize and they make you feel like you need to earn access to them. This is the biggest thing. A lot of you watching, they don't like, you don't make people, you don't make your audience have to earn access to you. And this entire energy is, I'm doing this with or without you. If you want in, show me why you're a fit. So this is the chase dynamic. So in practical terms, you got to stop chasing followers. It all starts with that. Stop chasing the followers and start attracting actual believers. You got to stop convincing on calls. You need to qualify people and just select them. Whenever I'm hopping on a call with someone, if you want to DM me and if you want to have a call to see if you're a good fit and work together one-on-one to grow your brand, I'm not going to sit there and convince you. I'm not going to sell you on features. No, it's all about, again, I'm actually implementing what I'm saying here. It's all about qualifying people and almost making them, again, generating the desire and creating this idea of the person in front of you needs to want to work with you more than you want to work with them. It's all about creating that desire. In terms of content, you got to stop begging for engagement and you need to create content worth engaging with. And again, make people feel lucky to actually access you. This is the chase dynamic, the very first principle. So a couple of more practical shifts on sales calls. Again, stop pitching and start almost like interviewing. Ask them why they want to work with you. Make them sell you on why they're an actual fit. A very big thing that I'm doing, if I'm getting on a call with someone, I'm asking them why would you be a good fit for this? So it's almost like a job interview. I'm making them sell themselves on the actual call, sell themselves on the actual offer, right? With content, you got to stop with the, please subscribe, please comment energy. Create something so valuable or polarizing that engagement is inevitable. You got a lot of people that tell you got to go engage with other creators and, fish for comments and stuff like that, fish for engagement. That is bullshit. Because if you want to build an iconic premium brand in your industry, that sort of identity that doesn't align with this idea of building a premium brand. Because what premium brand goes around and, begs for engagement? None. In DMs, stop chasing. Again, if someone ghosts you, just let them go. Abundance, this idea of abundance energy, is the most attractive thing in the world. And this applies to business. So if you if you have a conversation with the leads or the potential client and they ghost you, sure, you can do a follow-up, but even in the follow-up, it's all in the energy. And ultimately, you're going to get to that point where you don't even need to follow up. You don't even need to, because it's all going to be in your energy. It's all going to be in the way you speak to people, even with DMs. Sometimes I send a voice message, and if people, they don't reply, they don't reply. I'm very big on this idea of you need to be willing to just let go. Okay, let go and again, build a brand, build an ecosystem that's so valuable that people feel the need to chase you. And this is when everything, for me personally, everything fucking changed. Because last year I was still stuck in that mode with, yes, I was building valuable content, I was growing my brands. I took off on Instagram essentially from zero, from back in 2023 to almost 200,000. Life changed, everything fucking changed, but I was still stuck in that energy. And again, when I apply these things, everything changed for me. So principle two, Tension and release. So attraction, again, just like in dating, attraction requires tension. If there's no tension, there's no attraction. And in seduction, this is the push and pull technique, right? So this is when you draw someone in, then create space. You give attention, then you withdraw that attention. And the emotional roller coaster is what creates obsession. So seductive brands create this tension. They polarize. They say things that make you slightly uncomfortable. They're not always available and they don't try to please everyone. I'm saying this all the time. As a brand, you need to stop being in that scarcity mode of like, I'm trying to please everyone. I'm trying to be the nice guy. I'm trying to say yes to everyone. No, this is tension and release. So you got to polarize with your opinions. This is the push. You got to deliver massive value. This is the pull. Be selectively available. This is again the push. Show up with intensity when you do. So this is the pull. And then let people wonder about you. This is the push. So I'm going to write it down. A very big thing with this is also mystery. And we're going to talk about it in a sec. You need mystery, right? So again, principle 3. You need to weaponize mystery. So the thing is revealing everything with your content, with the way you show up online, with your messaging, with your Instagram stories, with everything. Revealing everything just kills attraction. And mystery creates intrigue, right? So the things left unsaid, the questions unanswered, the layers yet to be discovered, that's what keeps people obsessed. And you need to maintain mystery. So you can look at like the biggest artists, right? Look at The Weeknd. The Weeknd was very good at this idea of maintaining the mystery with the persona that he created. This is why I'm constantly talking about you don't need to create, like, stop focusing on this idea of like, I gotta grow my personal brand. No, create a cult-like character, create an icon in your industry. And with that, you need to maintain mystery. And again, don't explain everything. Just hint at depth without revealing it all. Make people feel like there's more beneath the surface. You got to weaponize the mystery. So, practical terms, don't over explain your methodology, just hint at it. Like, don't go into this mode of doing, I call them the funnel boys, like doing 3 hour long videos with breaking down doing a Miro board, whatever, breaking down your methodology like that. For anyone, I'm telling you this from personal experience because I also work with founders who built multiple companies, founders who have 30 plus years of experience. They made millions of dollars. They exited companies. Nobody cares about that. When you go into the over explaining modes, that just repels the top level people, the top level clients. So it doesn't work. So you need to have the depth that just unfolds over time and let people discover layers. Again, don't dump everything up front. Leave some questions unanswered because this is what they will pay you for, right? Make them want to know more. So instead of here's my complete 17 fucking step framework with every detail explained, try this. There's one psychological shift that changed everything for me. Most people miss it entirely. And this is how you create intrigue because they will need to know what the actual shift is from here, right? Principle number 4, this is pre-selection. So pre-selection is basically the principle that we want what others want. You can see this with the biggest brands, with Rolex, with even like fashion brands like YSL, Tom Ford. So we want what others want. This is why you see the whole like, oh, this collection is sold out, everything is sold out. And this creates desire. So if someone is desired by others, they obviously become more desirable to us. So it's social proof, but deeper than that, it's an evolutionary wiring in us as human beings. So we see someone with options and think, other people have validated this person. So then that means this must be valuable. And the person with no options, we assume there's a reason for that. And we're kind of like repelled by that energy, right? So you got to show that others want to work with you without actually bragging. So how do you do this? You reference demands naturally, like I'm fully booked until this moment. You share results and testimonials as social proof. You let people see others engaging with your content, and you turn away clients publicly. and others will see and want in more. So if you constantly say yes, if you constantly accept to work with everyone, if you constantly bend over like backwards for every single person that you talk to, if you never create this idea of, I'm in demand, like the pre-selection, you like on a subconscious level, like clients will perceive that, and again you will repel them. So this is the idea, this is what you got to do in here: show that others want to work with you, reference demand naturally, show the results, show the testimonials, but not in a desperate way, not in a desperate way. And again, this is very nuanced. So the guru boys will never tell you this, because they will essentially tell you just throw on as many case studies as you can, but that doesn't really work if you still operate from a place of scarcity. So you need a pre-selection. And again, this is not about bragging, but it's about letting demand be visible. Because when you reference being selective, when you show results from clients, when you casually mention your wait list, you're engineering pre-selection, because people see others wanting you and they want you more, right? The next one, principle number 5, emotional spikes. So people don't remember information. This is what you got to understand. You can make videos for 3 hours long, 4 hours, 5 hours. You can make so many videos, but they don't remember the information. They remember how you made them feel. So in seduction, the person who creates the most emotional spikes wins. Not just positive emotions, but the actual full range: excitement, curiosity, tension, surprise, validation, even slight discomfort. So, what does that mean? When you're on a call, when you have a conversation with a potential client, don't just be overly positive. Sometimes, what I like to do is be silent and almost look like disappointed, and just look like this and like let the person talk. So creating all of these emotional spikes, that is what creates the attraction, and this idea of, I need to make this person, from the client's perspective, like I need to make him almost like validate me. And again, push and pull, but also the emotional spikes. So make your audience feel seen, call out their exact situation, make them feel challenged as well, push them. Make them feel excited, obviously, show them what's possible. Make them feel tension, polarize with opinions, and then make them feel special with exclusivity, right? So this is, again, very practical. Stop asking, what information can I share? A lot of people that I start working with, they tell me this idea of, all of these programs and courses and gurus told me I gotta share a lot of information to gain authority, all of this. But stop asking yourself that and start asking, what emotion do I want them to feel? What emotion do I want them to feel? And then you engineer your content to create that emotion, because information is forgettable. Emotion is unforgettable. Again, when you do get to that point where you can make people feel something, they will never forget you. They will stop being just followers. They will start becoming believers. And so that's why you got to stop focusing on this idea of, how much more information could I provide? How much more can I give? And focus on this idea of, what emotion do I want them to feel? How can I engineer that desire? And again, regardless of the industry, I'm talking to a lot of real estate agents, for example. In that space, again, as a practical example, in that space, you need to engineer desire. Don't just talk about properties. Don't just talk about the offers that you have. Create that desire with your content. And again, once you ask yourself this question, what emotion do I want them to feel? Then you engineer your entire content engine, as I like to call it, around that, right? Principle number 6. This is the frame control. So the one who controls the frame essentially controls the entire interaction, right? So similar to dating, similar to just, again, seduction in general, the frame is the underlying meaning, the context, the assumptions about what's happening. So whoever sets the frame holds the actual power, right? So seductive creators actually set the frame. They decide what the interaction means. This can apply to the DMs. This can apply to the calls, obviously. They establish the reality, and when they're being tested, they hold that reality, right? So let me give you an example. So weak frames. I hope I can help you. right? So with this, you're essentially auditioning when you're in that mode. If you say, let me prove my value, if you say, let me show you everything I can do, you're beneath them. And if you ask, like, what do you think? Like, this is seeking validation, right? And I used to do this. I used to do all of this. I used to be like, I hope I can help you. I can do everything for you. I can do this. I can do that. Essentially, I was seeking validation. But when you actually have a strong frame, when you control the frame, this sounds something like, let's see if you're fit for what I do. In this case, they're auditioning, right? This is how I work. You set the terms. This is what I believe. This is your reality, not theirs. So, for example, anyone coming to me talking about a VSL, a funnel, I tell them straight up, like, I'm against this ideology of just obsess over the funnel, obsess over a VSL, and let's actually focus on the person behind the brand, because I build a brand around who you are. So I present my thesis, I present my ideology, and I almost welcome them into my world, not the other way around. This is how you hold the frame, right? Now, last principle, you got to be willing to walk away. Obviously, this applies to business deals, but also dating. So, again, I'm going to relate it back to that, because the most powerful move in seduction is the willingness to just walk away, right? So, when someone knows you don't need this to work, everything fucking shifts, because your power goes up and their desire goes up. So, the more your ability to essentially walk away goes up, the more their desire goes up. Because again, I've tested this. You can literally have the best fucking program, the best course, the best offer in the entire world. If you operate with this energy of not being willing to walk away and being afraid of losing them, being afraid to lose the deal, they will feel that. And very similar to seduction and dating and stuff, that's unattractive. And you will repel them, right? So you got to be willing to walk away, regardless of your industry, regardless of how, because you think with deals, you think, okay, I could make this much money, so I don't want to lose that. When you get in that energy, I don't want to lose them. I'm afraid of, fucking up the deal. You will inevitably self sabotage, and they will see that, right? So you got to be willing to just walk away and be genuinely okay with them saying no. Don't drop your price. I constantly talk about this. Don't drop the price when they hesitate. Don't chase when they go quiet, and just have other options and let them sense it, right? And make the takeaway real. So, this idea of like walking away, this might not be for you. This might not be for you. So, essentially, I had clients I started working with, and I told them, like, look, this might not be good for you. Are you sure you want to continue? And then they wanted more. This applies again to DMs conversations. I'm literally like, I'm telling them no in the DMs, and then they're like, oh, let's please have a conversation, because then you create the desire. Then they want you more than this is all a game of, I said it before, all a game of energy, all a game of psychology, all a game of seduction, a game of holding the frame, and again, a game of being able to walk away. But this only works if it's real, obviously, because you cannot fake detachment, right? I can sit here and give you all of the techniques, all of the things that you got to say, but you cannot fake this. You have to actually build a life, a brand, a business where no single client, no single follower, no single yes or no determines your future. You got to be above all of that. And when that's genuinely true, people will feel it, and then they will chase, right? So, with all of this, why the seduction psychology is the edge for 2026? Because everybody I know is going crazy with funnels, going crazy with all of this. Fuck that. Seduction psychology is the edge for 2026, because everyone, again, is going to keep doing the same shit. More content, more funnels, more convincing, more chasing, more ads, more all of that. And the market is essentially drowning in gurus and creators who just reek of fucking desperation. And when everyone is chasing, the one who's being chased, right, stands out. When everyone is over explaining, when everyone is trying to prove themselves, the person with mystery is intriguing. So, again, this idea of personal brands, the guru personal brands versus the cult characters versus the iconic brands. When you're in that mode, when you're almost becoming like an icon, like a cult character, you create desire, you have mystery, and you're intriguing. So when everyone is trying to please everyone, the person who polarizes is magnetic. And you can see this with the biggest brands, right? So that's basically it. These are the 7 principles. And when you take and genuinely apply these in every single conversation that you have, in every single call, in every single deal you close, and with the content as well, with the way you post, with the way you do Instagram stories, with the way you do carousels, with the way you reply to comments, when you genuinely apply all of this, again, it will have a real fucking impact. But it's got to come from a place of, I feel abundant. Like, I don't care. I don't care. Like, you've seen, on Twitter, I'm seeing like a lot of people talk shit about these people that like sell basically a 30-minute or 60-minute like consultation call for like $30,000, $48,000, whatever it is. But it's the same principle. These people charge so much because they don't really want to do that. So the psychology, and I'm going to make a separate video with this, the psychology of high prices and charging that much, that is it. Because the right people for that will actually pay the price. And you're sitting there thinking like, $500 for a course is like expensive. No, there are people selling, masterminds for 30,000, 50,000, 100,000. And this is the level that some of you will take it to. And if you're actually in that 1%, you can DM me down below. I'm going to pin a comment. You can send me a message on Instagram. I only work one-on-one with people. If you're actually in this, again, 1%, and you want to create a cult brand, and if you want to create an iconic character around who you are, without the bullshit of the funnels, without the bullshit of, the content strategies and the hook formulas and all of that crap, we can work together.